Hi, welcome back to Frame Fatale. We are back with Banjo-Kazooie 100% by Nylume, and I will be doing commentary. Hello.
Hello. All right. Do I count down? Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so a little pre-explanation here. What she did behind the scenes was set up a new trick called, well, this isn't new anymore, but it's a trick that allows us to skip Bottle's texts and Bottle's moves throughout the run. It's called FFM, Furnace Fun Moves, or Furnace Fun Manipulation. So what she did was she died or game overed in a mini game in Furnace Fun, and that allows us to skip having to talk to Bottles to learn things like Talon Trot and Beak Bomb. And so basically this run is movement. She's going to go through and collect the honeycombs here. This is 100%. And she's going to get all the honeycombs, all the jiggies, and all the notes. Mumbo tokens are just for moves. You don't actually need those to fulfill 100%. But basically, so how you start this thing off is you just go around Spiral Mountain, collect some honeycombs for health, and yeah. Spiral Mountain's pretty self-explanatory. You just follow the same path, and you actually cannot Talon Trot yet. So normally what you would do is learn Talon Trot in Mumbo's Mountain, which is the first main stage, but because she did FFM, which I just explained, she doesn't actually have to talk to Bottles, and she will unlock Talon Trot as soon as she enters Mumbo's Mountain. So here she's doing a sequence of rolls and flutter jumps in order to move as quickly and optimally as possible through this beginning sequence.
Yeah, the roll is the fastest movement here, so the idea is to be rolling as much as possible. And the flutter is just to get out of the roll quicker. Because if you don't flutter, then Banjo stops for a second.
Yep. So we're coming up upon one of our first
Bottle skip.
Yeah.
Here we go. And that just skips the cutscene that triggers when you run into Bottles right there.
Yeah, you don't have to talk to Bottles. And now that we're in the lair, the true run begins.
Spiral is harder than it seems, though.
Yeah,
it is.
Especially because you're optimally trying to get out of those rolls, and we really don't like Bottles, so we don't want to talk to him. Yeah, Bottles does get ignored most of the run. So, as I mentioned, as soon as she gets into Mumbo's here, she gets Talon Trot, and now we have the fastest movement in the game, which is Kazooie jumping in Talon Trot, so get ready to hear bree, bree, bree for the entirety of the run.
It honestly doesn't bother me anymore.
It's just part of my life now.
Right.
It's been internalized.
So the intended way to do this level is to turn into the termite and climb this tower that we're about to enter. But we use slope abuse to get up as Banjo-Kazooie, and that saves a lot of time.
And tokens. So not turning into the termite means we can save tokens for the next transformation, and this is a nice little exploit like Nylume just mentioned. It's a slope glitch. So if you're on the slope for under a certain period of time, you can actually continue moving rather than sliding off. And this actually only works on the 1.0 version of the game. It got patched out. And Banjo is very movement intensive, so you're going to see her utilizing her camera a lot and moving in straight lines. You're mostly just going to exhibit some diagonal movements to go as fast as possible. Cutting corners, simple maths, you know. And we're coming upon Conga, who we have a little speed up here. Because when we talk to the monkey who's throwing oranges at us, you can actually get him to throw these oranges pretty quickly, grab the orange, and then shoot him from the platform. Does Chonga actually really need much explanation? But here we go. This is one of the 3 times that we're actually going to talk to Bottles in the run. So I mentioned we don't talk to Bottles much because of FFM, but the reason we talk to Bottles here, as well as for feathers and gold feathers, is because it refills your entire quantity of eggs, feathers, and gold feathers when you talk to Bottles, so that way we don't actually have to collect too much. It simplifies everything a lot, and we don't have to run around collecting things when we could be going fast. There's actually a really interesting thing we can do here where sometimes Conga will throw the orange.
I am in Spiral Mountain mode.
It happens.
Sometimes I just go on autopilot, and yeah.
Nothing wrong with autopilot. But we're gonna talk to Mumbo, and we're not gonna talk to Mumbo here. So we're gonna go into his skull to get some notes, but we're not gonna wake him up. Because if we wake him up, we waste time. We don't want to talk to Mumbo here. He is of no use to us currently. Oh,
yay,
sometimes
we
Conga
didn't wake him up.
Orange early, and you can get that Jiggy to spawn before stepping on that switch, but it's very rare. Sorry about that. Lost my train of thought.
Mumbo seems like a very easy level, but I don't know. I think it's hard.
There's
mostly
a lot
because
to
of
think about.
yeah, mostly because of Conga and Juju.
You can lose a lot of time simply to not moving optimally, which makes this level a lot harder than it seems. It is the first level, but there's a lot you have to pay attention to.
Yeah, it's not one of my strongest levels, honestly, but I did okay. I got a good Juju. I didn't have problems with Conga.
Yeah, Juju was perfect. And now we're coming upon this dance skip. This is the first dance skip of the run. So when Banjo and Kazooie collect a Jiggy, they do a little dance and this tune plays. And we try to skip that as much as possible because it's slow. So what Nylume did there was she jumped into the water while grabbing the Jinjo so that she wouldn't land on the little island and dance. So by landing in the water or dying while grabbing a Jiggy, you skip the dance. There are a couple different dance skip exploits we do throughout the run, and what she just did there was skipping the termite again by utilizing some rolling, jumping, slow glitch exploits to get to the top of that little hill, so you don't need the termite to gather that Jiggy. And now we're headed to TTC. It may be the second level of the run, but Treasure Trove Cove is one of the harder levels. There's a lot of difficult flying sequences and movements, so our runner is going to be focused here, but she has totally got this.
Thanks. Now we open Clankers ahead of time. Oh, oops.
Yeah, like I mentioned, You've got FFM on board. And
yeah, we can already use the shock jump that you are supposed to learn in TTC.
So you've got a lot of breeze and bruise going on here, just making our way. And, yeah, basically straight lines. Jumping. Lots of jumping. Yeah, what, Also, as you saw, she did climb up the stairs and hop into the treasure chest instead of normally in casual you would backflip into it. It is faster to just climb up that little stair set and do that.
Right.
And,
I think it only saves like a couple seconds, but still.
It looks cooler.
Yeah.
So like I mentioned, you've got a lot of stuff here, movement-wise, that can be troublesome. You're doing your first swimming sequences to collect notes as fast as possible. You've got a little bit of an RNG element with Blubber, who is our dear hippo friend who's crying because he's lost his treasure. And he's going to give us a jiggy, and we want that jiggy to land on us, so we can have his cutscene play during the dance sequence and save a little bit of time. Also, I see chat's talking about their childhood fears of the shark. Yes, Snacker is a problematic guy. We're going to be swimming away from him and avoiding his damage at one point later on. But Snacker doesn't bother us too much. She's utilizing quick dives.
Oh, I got it. I thought I was going to miss it. But yeah, optimally you just have the jiggy spawn right on you. That saves a few seconds.
Yeah. And we're going to be utilizing quick diving here a lot. So that one she did to get under the water, it looked like she sort of fell into the water. That's a quick dive, so what she does is she sort of slides into the water while in Talon Trot and releases it. And that causes Banjo to sink into the water, and it's a lot faster than having to swim all the way down into it. So she's going to use that again, and she did use that in Mumbo's as well. But as you saw there, we don't land for lockup because when you're in flight, you skip dances. That guy doesn't bother us. We just fly right into him. It's easy.
Ideally, I would have gotten the note that was on that cove there, and I missed it, so I'm going to have to go back for it in a second. When I get back to the top of the level.
And there was another quick dive getting into that jiggy at the bottom of the pool. She doesn't have to swim quite as much. So she's going to beak bomb to the top of the level because this Jinja...
It's fast.
Yeah, because it's fast. I didn't really explain it, but she did grab that jiggy in flight on the ledge as well. That's just, another dance skip. You want to grab as many things as you can in flight. Oh, the camera.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes the camera's a little wacky, and, well, there's really nothing you can do about that once it's happened.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going back for this note really quick.
We have a camera please moment. Lighthouse point of view, exactly.
Yeah. Grabbing extra health there for Nipper Skip.
So what she's gonna do is swim over to this giant hermit crab. We do not want the giant hermit crab to
Kill us.
Yep, he's in the way and we don't want him to kill us. So we do a little exploit by getting on top of him and skipping his text and killing him from inside. So it's a little brutal, but it's fast, so. And she managed that super well, so we have no problems. That's another trick that looks a lot easier than it actually is. There's a lot of runners who opt out of actually doing nip or skip because you can die inside of him and it loses way more time. On the Xbox version of the game, your notes save as you go through, but on the Nintendo 64 version, they don't. And so if you die in a level, you lose all of your progress. You lose your notes, you lose your Jinjos. The only things you keep are your Jiggies and your Mumbo tokens. And that loses a ton of time because, as you see, there are 100 notes in every level.
Yeah, dying in this game is very bad. Hopefully
it's extremely unforgiving.
We won't see that today.
But yeah, basically, this is routed so that we can get all these little X's along our journey and get to the end as quickly as possible. Yeah, if you die in the level, you die in real life. Exactly. Here she's pooping some eggs into Leaky, the bucket. Raises water level.
This is the third flying section. In my opinion, this is one of the hardest parts of the game.
Mm-hmm. You have to be really good at counting.
Oh, I got all 3 notes. That was good.
Very nice. Yeah, that was a super clean.
Oh. There we go.
Oh, and there's a little joke we have with that pink Jinjo she just grabbed. So sometimes that Jinjo will jump, and when that Jinjo jumps, you go right through it and don't collect it, and we don't want that to happen. So, because we want to grab the Jiggy in flight like she's about to do right now. And that was a super clean flying section.
Besides the honeycomb, yeah, that was pretty
We don't have to think about the honeycomb, he's fine.
Yeah, just forget about the honeycomb.
So we do like to keep an eye on our health throughout these levels because we're preparing for a death warp. Optimally, she'd be at 2 health before entering the sandcastle, so she could die on the crab. There's a little crab inside of the sandcastle who we utilize to die.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of health, but I'd rather be safe than sorry during a marathon.
Exactly. She did not miss a note, no. There are 4 notes inside of the sandcastle. And we like to play spelling games in this game because Rareware has a good sense of humor.
It's written on the wall for you, too.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't realize that.
Rest in peace, Rareware. We miss you dearly. But she's gonna take damage off this crab and then fall into him and collect the Jiggy. And perfect! And that is another very clean death warp. Or the first very clean death warp of the run. I like to call that gruntling running around by those feathers the gatekeeper because sometimes he's right in front of where you get up. And he knocks you off.
Yeah, that guy's a jerk.
And so now that Clanker's is open, we're gonna open up this ding pot here. Ding pots are used to warp, and we'll be using it later on in the run to get to a later section very quickly. You think the T-Rex wishy-washy gods are in our favor today?
I don't know. Knowing me, I'll probably get one of them.
Hey, it's a good show, right?
Yeah. It's a funny little thing they put in the game.
Yeah, so what I mentioned just now. This is Clanker's. The beginning is, there's a couple different ways to go about this, so... you just basically have to collect the notes.
You're not supposed to do that.
There's a couple different techniques we have for getting this. The fastest way to get up there is to get in Talontrot and jump off of that corner onto the pipe and collect these notes going backwards and then go back around. But it is faster to simply jump and climb up than it is to attempt anything goofy or mess up that jump. But basically what we were talking about with Wishy-Washy and the T-Rex is sometimes Mumbo has a bit of a sense of humor, and instead of turning you into the transformation that you're supposed to become, he'll turn you into a washing machine, or he won't turn you into anything, and he'll have a text box that says, "Whoops, T-Rex is from other game," meaning the sequel to Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie. It's cute and it's funny, but we do not want that to happen in the speedrun. So what Nylume's doing right now is she's swimming. She's holding R to turn better underwater. It gives you better control. And she'll be collecting the notes while maintaining her air and swimming through the little key to raise Clanker up to open up the rest of the level. This probably scared a lot of people as kids because it's a little intense and you can die underwater quite easily if you don't know the R trick especially. But swimming and flying are made significantly easier simply by holding down R. And Clanker's is interesting because it's a level based entirely on cycles. So Clanker has a rising and falling cycle animation in the water, which changes a couple of different things throughout the level. For instance, entering Clanker, you want to go inside Clanker a couple times, which if you think about it, is kind of gross. But as Clanker rises and falls in the water, it opens up his gills, which you enter, and if you miss opening up his gills, it's a bit slower. You miss a cycle, basically. And another thing it affects is there is a bolt that flies up and down from his blowhole. And
it affects this tooth too, so I just missed that cycle, so I have to wait a few seconds for it to come back up. Mm-hmm. Open the tooth and enter.
Yep, he's got a couple different places to enter, which knowing how many places he has to enter actually plays into Furnace Fun.
Ooh, what is the answer to that? I forget.
I believe
is it less than...
it's more than 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the questions that always gets me.
Yeah, me too. I probably got it wrong just now. I get it when I see it, you know?
Yeah.
But she's going to swim through these rings as quickly as possible. There's some different cool stuff we can do here based on optimal swimming and optimal backflipping. But yeah, Clanker's is it's cycle-based, so it's annoying from a speedrun perspective, and then it's just aesthetically kind of gross. But it's, you know, it's got great music. It's got great music and it's fun.
Yeah, I like the dark levels.
Yeah, me too.
Clanker's and RBB.
RBB is my favorite. What even is Clanker? Clanker is a garbage grinder, but he's like a whale?
Yeah, he's a whale.
But what's weird about him being a whale is he has gills. So he's a whale shark thing.
Whale type thing.
Yeah, he's a whale though. He tries his best. He doesn't have tentacles on the outside, but yes, he does have them on the inside. It's pretty weird. And she's just gonna collect some of the jiggies on the outside of Clanker. Why not a dolphin? Because there's a dolphin elsewhere in the game. You get to see that dolphin later. And there's a trick that is extremely difficult here that she opted out of doing, which is smart for a marathon because it's very easy to miss. You can actually jump from the top of that platform she was on to that pole. We call that bolt jump. And it's extremely precise. So it loses time if you miss it. That's smart because it loses so much time if you miss. Banjo's sinking animation is slow. And then what she's doing now, she just made it look really easy collecting that honeycomb. It's basically you backflip out of a fall animation so that you can collect that honeycomb without falling off the platform. And she's breezing through Clankers. Very optimal movement. Here collecting everything in those windows.
Yay!
Nice. And here was another cycle I was talking about. You don't want that bolt to be there when you get there. You want to fall into Clanker as quickly as possible. And one of my personal favorite little exploits in this game is coming up. So once she gets into, you guys will see this in a moment, but once she gets into this little room with bottles in it, you've got some rapidly spinning propellers. You don't want, normally when you're playing this casually, you want to use gold feathers to get through this so you don't get hurt, but if you walk along the seam to the right of the propellers, you can walk through them. It's really cool, but it's actually like a totally, like it's a very intentional exploit. It just works. It looks so cool. So yeah, you do not need gold feathers there. And the reason we collect this Jinja last is, again, a dance skip. If you collect it while in swimming or flight, you don't dance and you save a whole lot of time. This game is very cool, yes. Speedrunning it is difficult and unforgiving, but extremely fun. Yeah, save the dances. We're saving the dances for the end of the game. I know you guys want Banjo and Kazooie to have fun, but we don't want them to dance because it's a speedrun. And here we have the snippets. They're little zombie crabs. You just basically want to kill them as quick as you can and get to the jiggy.
Okay.
They control you pretty bad.
I jumped up too soon. I got ahead of myself. And this last jiggy is really cool, I think.
Yeah, it is.
So you start swimming and then you collect the jiggy and then drown a few seconds after. And that's how we death warp out of the level.
Banjo has approximately 10 seconds per air bubble. And so it's just enough time to get the last honeycomb and the last jiggy and then die a very painful death. But it's okay, he comes back, he's fine. Banjo and Kazooie are fine. No killing animals. Just the witch. Oh, you do this way too.
Yeah. The other way is to go through this pipe first and then come back for the honeycomb and die on the honeycomb. But I think it's way harder because you have to go through this pipe like backwards and you can't see where you're going because the camera's fixed. They're both the same amount of time, so I do the easier one. Admittedly, it looks less cool, but it's safer.
Yeah, I do that way too. I think Haganator is the person who's most well known for doing it that way.
Yeah, he does it that way.
And so this is where it branches off. There are two main routes for Banjo-Kazooie 100% right now. There's what we call RBA, Reverse B Adventure, which is what we call the advanced route. It's got some difficult exploits and it saves time, but it's not worth it unless you've got the tricks consistent. And so what we do here, and I think most runners do this, is that we will open up Bubble Gloop Swamp and Freeze Easy Peak and play the game normally. RBA, Reverse B Adventure, you actually skip opening Bubble Gloop here, you skip opening Freeze Easy Peak, and there are a number of different exploits that you'll do to either beak bomb through parts of the level or use the B, and ultimately uses the B to enter Bubble Gloop Swamp without opening the stage. So there are ways to enter these levels without actually opening them, but like I said, it's extremely inconsistent. You'll actually be seeing the race at SGDQ coming up, which will have our girl Nylume on commentary. The race coming up at SGDQ will show the RBA route. So now you've got both routes.
You'll get to see it there. I don't think it's worth it to do RBA with the time I have in this game. Like if I ever got like sub 212, I would probably start doing it. But right now my PB is a 218. I don't think it's worth losing runs to like FP early and stuff.
Yeah. FP early is... Go ahead.
When I could focus on improving movement.
Exactly. So what she just mentioned, improving movement. This game is extremely movement intensive. You could do all the cool tricks in the world, but still have a bad time because your movement is off. And that's something a lot of people don't realize about Banjo-Kazooie, is how optimized the world records movement actually is. There's a lot to focus on there, so the tricks don't actually make as big of a difference as simply learning how to optimize how you play through the game.
Nope.
And she's gonna go through this level, and this is Bubble Gloop Swamp, my personal least favorite.
It's
I don't know how
really long.
Yeah.
Besides Click Clockwood, I think it's the longest level.
And it's very much movement.
There's a lot of mini games that take up time.
The Vile Song. Nylume, are we singing the Vile Song?
Oh god, you can. Yeah, there's the Mr. Vile minigame, and then the Turtle Choir minigame.
And the Turtle Choir minigame is all RNG, and nobody likes it, I think. It's cute. I'll give it that. But Bubble Gloop is essentially just getting around the level, collecting everything you need, and then transforming into the crocodile. So we're actually going to have our first transformation in this stage, which is really cool. She missed a note on purpose, so it's actually faster to grab these notes going back. She's probably going to do this on a number of different wooden platforms. She'll be jumping in talon trot, so she'll jump over the notes and she'll come back around and collect them on her way back. It's faster to stay in a consistent talon trot jumping sequence than it is to just grab all of those walking. But our first transformation's in this world, and we're actually going to die as the transformation in order to get out of here quickly. As you can see, these platforms, they require pretty careful movement. When you were a kid, you were probably like, oh, this is one of the hardest things, but there's ways to do it and stay on the platforms. And this is what we saved our gold feathers for, to quickly kill these little frogs. I mean, I'm sorry, we're killing the animals, but we kind of have to. You get a jiggy for killing those guys. And this is 100%. Are you doing hot jumps or no? Okay, so there's a trick you can do here. It can lose a ton of time if you mess up, where you don't break these huts, you just climb to the peak of them and optimally jump up to the next platform. It is very slow if you mess up, so it's really not worth going for in a marathon, and it doesn't lose enough time, or it doesn't save enough time to justify going for it, when you could simply just quickly break the boxes and use these spring pads. Bless you.
Thank you.
And you
Sorry,
probably...
there's someone in the background.
Oh! That's so awkward. Oh my god. Okay. Well. Anyway, bless you, person in the background. I thought it didn't sound like you, but I wanted to say it anyway. Oh my gosh. Was that Hag?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, that's funny. Jesus. Okay. Well, anyway, there wasn't too much to explain there. She's just, getting through the level as quickly as she can. Okay, that's funny. And she's killing these shooting the eggs into these croctuses along the way.
I'll grab a little extra health. Oh, wow. Okay.
You have a lot of extra health here. Oh, that was funny.
I'm just killing that guy because he's annoying. I don't like that guy.
That dragonfly gets in your way and can really ruin things.
Yeah, he can troll you.
Also, you can probably see that she's been stomping this turtle's feet. We guarantee you he actually likes it. He actually thanks us later, even though he screams in pain.
Yeah.
He thanks us for it, so don't be upset. He's very happy to have his feet stomped on.
In this case, it is not animal abuse.
It is not abuse. He actually wants his feet stomped. And here we have the turtle minigame that we mentioned earlier. It's entirely RNG. You basically just want to stomp the turtles in the pattern that Tip Top shows you. And you want him to avoid the purple one and the pink one in the back because they're slower. Most runners will write the patterns down as they go because memorizing... Who has time for memorizing when you're speedrunning? I also... some people number them, some people name them based on their colors, but people will call the light blue turtle cyan, but I say light blue, and there's just a lot of different ways to say these.
I say teal.
There you go.
What I think is interesting is Monrunner is colorblind, and he has a very interesting way of remembering
the number system.
Yeah.
whatever works, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, that is actually Tip Tup from Diddy Kong Racing. Our rareware people like to be consistent with their characters. He also appears in the sequel, and he says these are his daughters in Banjo-Tooie. So apparently all these baby turtles here are little girls, because he has a son in Banjo-Tooie, and he says, let's go meet your sisters. So that's a cool little tidbit there.
Oh, I never made that connection. That is cool.
Yeah. They're really good about detail. And what she did there was she grabbed the honeycomb and ground pounded onto the jiggy. That's just a little bit faster. Lore, I know. But we're gonna make our way through the maze. And sometimes, you do a little bit of damage here because it's faster, but you do want to grab these boots. I'm wondering, have you seen the maze done without boots? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So the reason we don't do boots for the end of it is because it's actually slower with the animation, but we do want them because it's very difficult to get through this maze, and we do actually need some health. Now we have the platform of death here.
Yeah, playing it safe.
I mean, that's smart. It's very easy to fall off of this.
Now we're gonna skip the boots, take some damage, so we'll be prepared to death warp at the end of the level.
So Mumbo's gonna turn us into a cute little crocodile with a backpack. Are you doing Ninpok skip in this run? Someone in chat just asked.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yes, Beeble, she is doing Ninpok skip at the end. And no troll yet, just a quick crocodile. Vile song. So, a runner, one of the ones racing at SGDQ this year, Duckus Khan, has a song for this little section that we're going to. This minigame with Mr. Vile, the red crocodile, is basically about how he's a jerk. It is a little bit explicit of a song, though, so I don't think I'm going to sing it, because I'm not quite as creative as he is with substituting words, and I don't want to accidentally say something vulgar on this stream.
Good idea.
But he'll probably be singing that song at GDQ. Aww, Vile Thumps in the chat. But as you can tell, this music is charming and fun. A lot of people really like this track, so he made a song out of it. It worked out really well. Lots of people love it. Basically, you just want to eat more Yumblies and Grumblies based on what's showing on the screen than Vile. He's very easy to beat, but sometimes it trolls you.
Yeah, sometimes the game just decides to, like, especially in the last round, like, just put the right one right in front of him, and, like, nothing will spawn that you want. It's really annoying. But usually losing to him isn't an issue. Only if you get really unlucky.
Yeah, and they actually used to do this in the run without the shoes, and it was a lot harder back then. So
yeah, the shoes make it a lot easier.
it looks like it's not trolling too bad, so that's nice. Like she mentioned, sometimes, so he knows where they're gonna spawn because AI is better than we are, and it will predict where it shows up, so he'll run at it, and sometimes they appear right in front of his mouth, and that's unfortunate. But it looks like it's not going to troll you too bad now. Yeah, the AI cheats. There's another AI later in the game that cheats even more, and that will be Boggy.
Oh god.
That AI really cheats. You guys familiar with rubber banding? Because you will be. So Vile's very greedy. He wants all of these little snacks for himself. And actually it is very bad to lose here because he bites you.
Yeah.
Since we have gotten ourselves down to low health for a death warp, he will insta-kill you. And nobody
I have 3 health,
that.
so I won't die, but yeah.
Yeah. He'll insta-kill you if you're on 1 health.
Yes. In a normal run, I would die instantly.
That was smart.
I'm fine. This is... Yay, we won.
Yay! We take those. Yeah, so we're just gonna collect a couple more little things as our crocodile because he can fit under these.
I already got that. If you don't get the Flibbits Jiggy, if it doesn't spawn on you, you get it with the croc leader. Yeah. Usually I have to get it with the croc, but I actually got it this time.
Nice.
That was good.
Anything to skip the dance. We're gonna do a little collect-a-thoning here. And after the last note, we get killed by a dragonfly. And this dragonfly is a jerk.
Oh, he's stuck.
Yeah, he gets stuck sometimes. Sometimes he flies in the wrong direction. And
Hello?
he can cause a lot of problems.
Okay.
Oh my god, this guy. Okay, good. Nice. And she's gonna do something pretty cool with this statue jiggy coming up. I don't know, like, where stream's at, because latency is weird, so I don't want to talk too far ahead.
Oh, right.
But yeah, normally you would have to use a shock spring pad to get into this, but we can just jump onto her arm and get into her hat that way, and it's a lot faster.
Next level is Gobies Valley, which is probably one of the hardest levels.
Especially movement-wise. We got a couple cool tricks coming up in Gobies.
Right now we're just doing some lair stuff, hitting some switches, opening doors.
Do you open Dingpot here or later?
I think I do it later. After MMM. Usually, you would hit a witch switch in Gobies Valley to get that jiggy, but we can just clip through the wall and collect it that way. It's a cool little trick.
Walls don't really matter too much in this game. We actually try to avoid a couple of witch switches.
Right.
I think she meant after, because we reset in MMM. But yeah, we do actually open all of the levels in this route. The Xbox version is different because it auto-saves your notes and Jinjos, so it's very casual friendly. Basically, if you die in a level in N64, you lose all of your progress except for Jiggies, and you have to collect notes and Jinjos again, unless you got the Jiggy for the Jinjos. This loses a lot of time and makes the game very unforgiving. But in Xbox it saves them, and you can't skip text, which actually makes Xbox slower. But Gobies is nice, and it gives us these running shoes that we use to speed up a little bit. Most of the time you would fly through the ancient rings here, and in the speedrun we very rarely fly through any of them. Nylume's gonna do Gobi Clip, which is also known as Jinxie Clip because you're actually clipping into Jinxie, the Sphinx. But it's in Gobies Valley, so a lot of people call it Gobi Clip. So what you do is there's a seam on the Sphinx that is pretty weak, and you can actually get through it. So if you center your camera and zoom out all the way, you can sort of just clip into this by wiggling. And she got it first try. That trick has a couple different setups, but this most recent setup where you do it in Talon Trot was found by Haganator, and it is consistent and a lot faster than the original, where we debarged into the Sphinx. So yeah, guys, clap. That was awesome. She got first try. Gobi Clip control you.
It can.
Sometimes Gobi Clip can really troll you, so you really do want to pay attention to the camera there. Leslie skipped best. Leslie in chat actually very often just insta-clips into it, and we don't know how she does it, but it just happens, and I don't think she even knows how she does it. It's really cool, though. It's like, doesn't even really have to wiggle, just falls right into it. Yeah, Gobi Clip can kill you, kids. Don't try this at home.
Oh, well, I missed that one.
That's alright. So what she tried to do was set the camera so this ancient one didn't come up out of the ground. If you set the camera so it doesn't see that you're looking at it, it won't come out of the ground until the camera is on it. And by doing that, you can get onto it before it comes out of the ground all the way. And it's pretty tough. So Gobies is about egg conservation, which is pretty cool. You gotta pay attention to your egg count, your feather count, because you're gonna need those later. And you do use a lot of eggs in this level. Yeah, walls tend to be mere suggestions in this game and other Rareware games. So we got another minigame here. This is just a quick memory puzzle, but she doesn't actually have to use her memory because we know that these come up the same every single time. So, you know, memorization's nice and all, but routing's better. And what's interesting about Gobies is the pyramids have different little I guess, games or activities you do in them. And so you're saying you already memorized the memory puzzle. Aw, yeah. It's the ultimate memorization. Memorizing before you even see it. But every pyramid's got its own little game or activity to do in it for a jiggy, and that's part of what makes Gobies a harder, slower level, is because there's a lot of tricks to do to get into these pyramids. And you really got to keep an eye out for the movement there, as well as your egg count, because you lose a lot of them around here. And this is actually the only ancient ring we fly through normally. So here we got Toots and Ruby, who are a snake charmer and his pet. Ruby being the snake charmer, I just say Toots first because honestly he's cute, so we gotta call him out. You might recognize Toots as being the strange pet thingy that King Jingling has in Banjo-Tooie.
Strange pet thingy.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a little pink guy with Ruby, but we don't really hang out with them for very long. We kind of just try to get in and out of here. And so say bye to Toots. We can forget about Ruby, but Toots is important. Those are really good egg shots.
Thanks.
Sometimes those moving dog heads troll you a little bit.
You do.
Are you doing grabba with the shoes?
No. I do them at the end.
Okay. See you in Tooie, Toots. Yep.
And I managed to stay in flight there. That was good. It doesn't really matter for this route, but if you do the water pyramid clip, you want to stay in flight after that jiggy so you can clip into the pyramid with a beak bomb.
Yeah. This level also has what we call an advanced route, which is what she just mentioned. And if you land there, you really can't do that route optimally. But even here, landing is slower than just staying in flight. So you may see this timer and be like, wow, that's stressful, what a short amount of time. But it actually stays open for like 5 seconds after 0. So you
Yeah.
have to keep up on that. You can still get in really fast. And I asked her about grabba moments ago. We're gonna do a little trick later at the end where she messes with grabba, who is hoarding a jiggy all to himself. And normally you have to outspeed him, get his jiggy with the running shoes and jump on him and he gets upset, but you can actually grab that in flight, and it is way faster. But you see what she's doing with the camera here for the ancient ones? Basically, she's keeping the camera away from where the statues rise up, like I mentioned, so she can jump on them when they come out of the ground.
Yeah, normally you have to fly through them, and that's slow.
We don't like being slow here. Here we have King Sandy Butt's tomb, very aptly named. And what she's doing right here is she is jumping off of the wall onto the top of the pyramid, because who needs to do mazes, right? We certainly don't. And that was really fast. So, nice. Because that wall can sometimes troll you as well.
Yeah.
And there are a couple backups, but Getting through the pyramid, over the pyramid, first try is always good. And Kazooie is a girl, yes. She's also extremely sassy. If we didn't skip text, you would see that on multiple occasions. She just quick dived again, quick dove, however you would say that. And she's gonna collect these notes underwater and a Jiggy. Again, skipping the dance, but we already know we skip all the dances we can. Kazooie is a good spirit animal to have. And Gobi is a very heavily abused animal. We stomp him a couple of times throughout the run, twice in this level actually, so poor Gobi. And what she's doing here is jumping off the tree to get the Jiggy on top of Trunker. Also, a very often missed Furnace Fun question. Trunker is actually wearing a hat, and that is not a leafy wig.
Oh. Usually that Jiggy's already there, but I missed the first spawn of the ancient one. So
that's okay, you can skip the dance by picking it up in flight.
Exactly.
It's nice that there are so many backups for this game too. And this is what I was talking about with Grabba. So she's gonna beak bomb herself over here and grab the Jiggy out of Grabba's hand in flight. And this is an interesting sound glitch actually. You hear the running shoes music playing in the background. Which it's not supposed to be, but the game expects you to only be able to get that Jiggy with running shoes on. And so because of that, you get to listen to the music slightly in the background. Ah, I see. I love that strat. And we're abusing Gobi again.
And yeah, I had a little extra health just in case, so just gotta wait to die here.
We're abusing Banjo too. Another death warp is in order here. But very clean Gobies. So we're gonna get out of here and make our way over to opening Mad Monster Mansion, which is kind of out of the way.
It is. If we found an MMM skip, I would save like a lot of time. Yeah, this way.
There's a bit of a necessary.
Wait,
yeah,
I'm not gonna. Okay. Yeah.
Wait, ding pot? Yeah.
Oh, I do that after I open the level.
But there's a little bit of a dull swimming section here, so basically you just get to where the opening is, and that's literally it. You just swim. Nothing to really optimize here except, I guess, angle. Do you use the fishy to get up to the platform, or do you just jump up?
No, I just jump.
Yeah, me too. You can actually...
Okay. Yeah, apparently, like, you have to do it really exact to save any time, and yeah, I don't think it's worth it. Yeah.
I agree. There's a little piranha here in the water who you can use to boost yourself onto the ledge, but he's slow unless you do it really fast, so we just ignore him. We swim right under him. Nylume, someone just asked why are these two animals co-joined? They're not co-joined, they just live together. She lives in his backpack, kinda. We don't really know why. They either like each other a lot, or they're married, or something. I don't know. But she just quick dove again from that token, and that was really optimal too. So basically, you've noticed she's picking up Mumbo tokens throughout the game, but not all of them. There's like a token route or a couple of token routes where basically you just want to have 25 tokens by the time you have to turn into a bee. Otherwise, problems happen. Life partners.
Yeah, it never really says what their relationship is, so...
It's never specified
I assume
anywhere.
they're just best friends, or I don't know.
But yeah, Kazooie is pretty much the only reason we're able to go fast, so we can thank her for that. It's a good thing she lives in that backpack. We're gonna open this gate, because if we don't, you can't get our little pumpkin friend in. And this is another transformation level. We're gonna turn into a pumpkin who is extremely cute. Mad Monster Mansion is deceptively hard. It's very movement intensive. There's a lot that can go wrong or slow you down throughout it.
It's so hard.
Yeah. It's not like obviously hard like some of the more trick intensive ones, but it is one of the harder levels. And we're just gonna see her get through everything as quickly as we can. This is a very common favorite level for people as well, but in the speedrun it is definitely not easy to get through fast. Also, you guys know Grant Kirkhope's the composer. If you don't, Grant is very active with fans of the game, and he answers a lot of questions. There is a section coming up where it sounds like pots are saying something rude, but they're actually just saying thank you, so just listen out for that. Grant has confirmed that they're actually saying thank you.
Yeah, if you at him on Twitter, he'll like always reply.
He's really cool about it. So the damage there, so sometimes if you roll really fast into that shock spring pad and jump, the monster doesn't hit you at all. It's very precise. And this is mostly just quickly trying to collect notes in different rooms in the castle. As you can see, she's kind of just running past those champas. What's funny about the champas is... Did he say wee or no?
What?
Did the Jinjo go wee before you got him?
Oh. I don't
wasn't
know.
listening, so I don't
Was
know.
he supposed to?
No, I wanted to explain the sound glitch.
Oh.
It's my favorite sound glitch. But anyway, she's kind of just running past the champas because they don't actually hurt you if you go past them fast enough. Bad hitboxes or something.
I thought you were talking about the sound glitch when you exit Napper and then you can hear the pumpkin going wee.
That's what I thought
you were talking about.
This one where the Jinjo goes wee.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you grab that blue Jinjo and jump into the chimney fast enough, he'll say wee after you exit the house instead of before entering the chimney.
That's the Jinjo? Okay.
Yeah!
I always thought it was the pumpkin.
It's my favorite.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on in this game.
That jump where you use the honeycomb box to get on the wall is kind of difficult.
Yeah, she nailed it first try, though. Oh, and these are the pots I was referring to. Now, I assure you, they are saying thank you. They're not being rude. And this is another section that can lose a lot of time if you're not optimal, but she's getting through it really quickly. These graves like to troll you.
The pots are what I find difficult. It's like you think you're gonna get the egg in,
and then it misses for some
off.
reason. Yeah. Another mini game. We like our mini games here. This is Tumbler. He's a little tumbler or a cup, and this ghost or teehee likes to troll you a little bit sometimes. What she's gonna do here is collect all the notes while jumping off, while avoiding the teehee, and also spelling out Banjo-Kazooie. So there's a lot going on here. This is really clean so far. You can, the hit detection on the feet for the tumbler is kind of goofy sometimes, so you can jump back onto it, but it won't, like, attach.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying.
Everything's going real smoothly in here. Feet, yes. But she's gonna go for another dance skip here. You grab this Jinjo and fall into the pool below while grabbing the Jiggy, and she nails it. So that way you can also grab the token underneath the whip crack in the water.
Yeah, I don't usually get that token. But
I don't either, but it's the idea. You want to try. But the
I don't usually get that. Yeah, I don't usually get the dance skip either, so that was nice.
That was really good, I was gonna say. Yeah, she doesn't need that token. It's just there's a token there that you can grab if you fall onto it. And that would, it's always good to have tokens if you can get them. So these ghosts in the church troll you really bad. That's why we kill that one, because otherwise it's hard to collect these notes quickly. And we're going to play a song with Motsand, because everybody likes playing songs, right? But you don't actually have to copy him. You just memorize it. So it's funny because he's showing you how to play the song, but you're ahead of him, so it's a little bit of, dissonant noise here. But yeah, Motsand gives us a Jiggy for playing his song. We thank him for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Motsand. So the church is an issue for a lot of runners. You can die in here pretty easily if you're on low health.
It's an issue for me. I die here all the time.
It's very sad and annoying because this is almost the end of the level.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do some safe strats here. You'll see in a second. You can come here, and then if you ground pound recoil off of this, you won't take damage. And the ghost will be all the way over there. So you can just, you have time to kill him. Usually you'd fall right onto this pew.
And that ghost, so what she did is she went back on the platform instead of falling immediately, because that ghost can actually be right where you land and it kills you. And that is the worst way to lose a run, because normally the only reason that happens is because you were using a safe strat. So you die by using the safe strat. And so she took a little extra precaution and got out just fine. Now we're gonna climb the church, because there's a jiggy up here.
These 4 notes are very tricky.
Yeah, note hitboxes. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think note hitboxes are 2D, whereas the game is 3D.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
And so sometimes the spinning hitbox causes problems. But she's gonna jump from up there. If you jump too high, you can take damage and fall off the church. So, but Nylume's a pro. She can do it no problem. Now we're gonna be a cute little pumpkin. And some people, Duckus Con, say that this looks more like an orange. So, and it kind of does. It kind of looks like an orange. And we're gonna do some collecting with our pumpkin friend so we don't dance.
It's just a very round pumpkin.
Round and smooth. But he is a very cute transformation. In fact, they're all cute, but this is a fan favorite. And we collect things quickly with him and end up death warping, so poor little baby guy. Oh yeah, and we get flushed, which, you know, rareware humor. British toilet humor, haha.
Haha.
Haha. Yeah, so it's not a rareware game without a little bit of humor of that nature. Easy C, we play the Nintendo 64 version because you can't skip text in the Xbox version, so this ultimately comes out being faster. And Grunty actually calls us gross for flushing ourselves down that toilet earlier, but we don't see that because we ignore her. So, she's moving.
Oh wow, I have a lot of health.
That was really fast too, the jiggy grab. We move through these whip cracks carefully. Normally you try not to take damage, because intentionally you'd want to come down here with low health.
Yeah.
But these whip cracks control you and kill you, so a lot of runners like to have 2 health in there.
I had like 6, I just I guess I forgot.
No worries. And this grave here can sometimes troll you as well. I mean, I've been saying control you about almost everything in the game, but that just tells you the nature of this video game. So we're gonna actually... This run is not to Nylume's standards, so she's about to reset here. She's not happy with the run.
Yeah. Just...
So, sorry guys. I know it's a marathon and we're not supposed to, but she's just, you know... We're not happy with it, so we're gonna start over. No, but actually, resetting brings you to the start of Grunty's lair, and so that helps us to collect a switch jiggy that we unlocked earlier, and also warp us to the location to get to Freezeezy Peak faster. So instead of having to backtrack all the way from Mad Monster Mansion and from that back corner, we reset because it's faster. I'm sorry. I know that joke's been told a million times. I couldn't help it. The idea is to get to here faster. And use our buddy Dingpot.
Now we warp to the FP area. And this is the third to last level. So we're like more than halfway through the run now.
Mm-hmm.
FP is I think it's pretty easy. There's a few things that can mess with you, but it doesn't usually give me problems.
Do you do right leg during the race?
I do right leg.
But not
I don't know, I do left leg,
left,
but not right, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say, whoa, right's harder.
Yeah.
So, what I'm referring to, I'll explain later. I just wanted to clarify what she's doing so I can explain the right strat. But here, we've got little guys who eat these twinkling lights, but if you kill the first one and jump onto the box, there are no more monsters, and the lights can go their merry way with no problems. And I know we ruined the game, but it's faster.
Yeah, usually you just have to keep killing the green guys, the twinkly munchers, I think they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is easier and faster.
Cute lights, ay.
Wow, I actually got that.
That was really nice.
I don't usually get that.
So that's a no-scope, and we shoot the little switch that activates the glowing star, and sometimes runners will aim for it because it's a certain strategy to no-scope it, and if you miss it, you want to aim. But she nailed it. That was beautiful. And yeah, we're gonna do something called half YOLO.
I don't think this is half YOLO.
Oh, you beat bombed, okay.
Yeah, I just do I don't even know what that's called, but...
That's like half YOLO. It's very similar. Whatever. There's a trick you can do on that star called YOLO, where Banjo flies through it, where you beak bomb up to it, you jump and flutter through the star, flutter back, and ground pound to get through it 3 times. It's risky because, well, I mean, you lose flight, so if you miss, it's a bad time. But what a lot of people will do will ground pound after they've already flown through it, so that they don't have to worry about losing flight. And we're gonna mess with Boggy here. We woke him up, but don't feel too bad for him, because he's a jerk, and you'll find out why later. Also, Merry Christmas. It's always Christmas in Banjo-Kazooie. And now that she has flown through the star, we have triggered the Jiggy to appear up here. And so we gotta come into this tree, not only for the Jiggy, but also for the present and some notes. Also, you got a pretty quick grab of some extra eggs and feathers if you're running low, but Nylume's counts are fine, so she's good to go.
Oh.
And that termite is a problem occasionally. And not only do we harm animals in this run, but also sentient snowmen. What Nylume is about to do is hit these snowmen with beak bombs. They can be finicky. Their hitboxes are interesting, but usually if you hit the first one, the rest of them are a breeze, and she is demonstrating that very well. These are clean snowmen.
Thanks.
I'm guessing they don't usually give you any trouble either.
Ideally there I would just land right into the loading zone without crashing, but
yeah, sometimes the loading zone. Yeah, it's a tough thing to do. Sometimes you'll land in Talon Try and go in and it's perfect, and sometimes you'll crash. And now we are a walrus. And Mumbo body shames us, but we skip his text, so he can't make Banjo feel bad. So while movement's important in this game as Banjo-Kazooie, it is also important as the transformations. The transformations have different mechanics about them. So the walrus moves fairly slowly, but one thing you do not want to do at all is jump in the water because it lags really badly and slows you down. So now we're on to our first Boggy Race, and Boggy is notorious for rubber banding. Rubber banding, for those of you who aren't familiar with the term, is where when you are ahead of them, they will pick up the pace in order to catch up with you and go past you, and the faster you go, the faster they go. So what you want to do is get ahead of him enough to collect the things you need to, and then get behind him so he doesn't speed up out of control. And you might notice that she skipped one of the notes there. That's not bad. She's going to collect that later in the second race as Banjo-Kazooie. She's intentionally missing those because it's faster to continue this race this way than have to hang back and collect those notes all as the walrus. And easy win. Boggy is particularly bad about rubber banding in the second race.
Yeah. So you need the walrus for both the Boggy Race Jiggy and the Jiggy we just got from that walrus, because Waza doesn't talk to you unless you're the walrus.
He's scared. He's racist.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he thinks bears and birds are bad and only walrus are good. Is the plural for walrus walruses or walry? Because both of them sound ridiculous.
I hope it's walry.
Me too. Yep. Boggy is all about bad rubber banding and bad parenting. You'll see the bad parenting thing later. If you're not familiar with this game, you're learning a lot of lore as we go through the run, because since it is a 100% speedrun, we do actually go through all the levels and meet all the NPCs. So we just needed the walrus for a couple things, and now we get to climb the scarf, which you might have fond memories of as a kid. It's a fun section. It's cool. It's snowing. Fun. Yeah. It's snowing and there's Christmassy fun music.
I like the A button press and the camera.
Yeah.
Press it's like a rhythm you do.
Yeah, so you saw how cleanly she picked all those up. That's because of a certain like camera angle you have. The rhythm, like she mentioned. It's really cool. It looks nice. It's like comfy. It feels like almost a break from having to pay a ton of attention.
Yeah.
Now we're at the highest point of the level. Notes and a jiggy. That's all we need from up here. And she's gonna do something pretty cool in a second here. So you beak bomb and let yourself fly off of this section and flutter, and that way you get launched over to this side pretty quickly. And these cute little polar bear kids are Boggy's children, who he forgot about on Christmas. Can you believe it? So Banjo has to come in and be the hero and deliver their Christmas presents, because Boggy is a negligent father figure.
All he cares about is racing
and sleeping and eating. That's all he cares about. But this is the right leg I was referring to. She collects these items because you could collect them as the walrus during the race, but it's very time sensitive and easy to mess up. So it's a lot faster to just get them as Banjo, unless you know you can do it consistently. And then left leg, you can do as Banjo like this, but it's a lot more lenient. The race automatically ends if Boggy gets too far ahead of you, and we don't want that to happen. And there's one little Jinjo detour on the race we gotta grab here. And then all is right with the world. Rest of the race is pretty much just making sure he doesn't launch himself into super speed mode.
Yeah, so I waited for a second there just to make sure he slowed down so I can get ahead of him. He doesn't rubber band me and win.
Yeah, we don't want to reward bad parenting. We want to make sure he loses all his races. And then we're coming upon our death warp here. Just a couple more things to grab, and a swimming sequence that looks like it could be very stressful, very Monka-esque, but it's actually fairly easy.
Okay.
Provided you have enough health. If you don't have enough health, bad things happen.
For some reason I thought I missed a note, so I just checked really fast right there. In case you were wondering why it paused suddenly.
And so she's going to jump in here, and it pushes you underwater due to the damage. And she's going to swim through this little hole, taking damage gradually as we go. And the only reason we come back here is because we need honeycombs. And we're abusing Banjo again. There aren't very many levels where we don't death warp. And she's going to collect 2 Jiggies in flight here. We have I-Jiggy, which was unlocked by the Witch Switch in Mad Monster Mansion. You don't want to land here.
Yeah. And... oh god, that's a bad camera. This is a tough jiggy. Like,
it's
usually
very,
I just do it without thinking, and I overthought it, so there we go.
Yeah, iJiggy can cause a lot of problems, and actually, believe it or not, going back and trying to set up the camera is way faster than missing it. Because if you land iJiggy, you have to go all the way back, get the shoes, activate the timer, and run back. And then she can just beak bomb through the wall there, which is pretty cool. Little game exploit.
Yeah, that lets us skip the witch switch in FP. Getting the jiggy
way. No RBA because it's very inconsistent for marathon runs, and a lot of people choose not to do RBA because it saves some time and it's like a cool route, but all of the tricks in it are very inconsistent. And there's basically 2 runnable N64 routes now, and RBA is one of them, and this is the other. And that jump over there, she got over there easy. But sometimes you miss that jump, and it's a giant pain.
Yeah, that can be tricky. But yeah, I prefer to stick with this route at my current skill level. I don't think it's worth it to do RBA yet.
RBA means reverse B adventure, because what you do is you get into the layer using the B transformation, and it causes all sorts of interesting exploits with the game. We use it for all any % runs, or any % RBA rather. There's also an any % no RBA. But yeah. Mostly just the top 10 runners do the RBA route. And this is RBB, my personal favorite level. Got a cool track, but it's really hard.
It's really fun though.
Yes.
It's rewarding. When you just nail everything.
Yeah, good Rusty Bucket Bay. Very few things feel nicer in a run than a really good Rusty Bucket Bay. So we're coming upon what many of you remember, sadly, Engine Room. Engine Room has haunted many childhoods and has caused many rage quits for speedrunners if they don't pay attention, and Nylume is gonna zip through it because she's a champ. Sorry, I just put pressure on you.
No, it's okay. I just as soon as you said that, I slipped, but I didn't fall off, so it's all good.
I always slip.
That would have been funny if I.
It would have been so
right
funny.
After you said that.
Yeah, I just realized I'm gonna jinx it. I apologize.
It's okay.
But so normally in casual play, you will stop these propellers or slow them down. You don't actually stop them, and you can jump through them. But if you roll into them and use your damage invincibility to flutter through, you can just jump through them like she did. It looks crazy, and it's kind of hard because sometimes the knockback pushes you in a bad direction, which is why she sets the camera centered, because the knockback can be a huge problem. But she got through both of them just fine.
Yeah, usually I try to get knocked back straight.
If you get knocked back crooked, you run the risk of hitting the propeller as you go through. And as you can see, we don't care about walls. Banjo doesn't care about walls. You can just walk through that one. It's really cool. But we're gonna do some risky swimming here. So the water in Rusty Bucket Bay is poisonous. It does damage as like, it does double damage to what you'd normally take being underwater, and it does damage to you while you're on the surface as well. So in order to minimize risk, Nylume is going to go and grab this Jiggy and go back for the pink Jinjo after grabbing the Jiggy, because if you don't make it on time, you die. Like, there's nothing you can do. If you make it to the Jiggy and grab the Jiggy but the timer ends, you have no chance, and that's a death, and we don't like deaths in Banjo-Kazooie because you lose all your notes. Yeah, she's doing extremely well. I agree. It's been a very clean run. GG, girl.
Thanks. And I had to pause on the box there for a second so my health would refill. If you go too fast jumping off of the box, your health won't refill, and then you run the risk of drowning, even though you aren't underwater. Just swimming in the water drains your air.
Yeah.
Or dog paddling, rather.
Yeah, this water is very bad. Alright, we like intentional deaths. We don't like dying when we don't want to die. But we're coming upon a mini-boss, so you might remember Tooie having lots of bosses. Kazooie does not have little mini-boss fights in most of the levels, but Rusty Bucket Bay does. And we have Boss Boombox, who we're on our way to right now after hitting the Witch Switch. And Boombox has an exploit. You shoot some eggs, stun him, and go grab the Jiggy, and you don't have to fight him. You can just grab the Jiggy. And I think that is fantastic.
It's very fantastic. It's very satisfying, just hearing all those boxes.
He just goes boom instantly. And basically, getting around Rusty Bucket Bay is just getting into the ship in windows that do open and collecting whatever you need to inside and getting out as quickly as possible. We don't care about the enemies in that room. They're very quick to avoid. What she did is she jumped into the room in Talon Trot, got to the back of the room, and got out like it was nothing. That enemy never touches you if you do it right. Same with this one. You've got this angry little TNT box that doesn't even touch you. You just run in there and run out. And this room, which she made look easy, the one with the blue Jinjo in it, you want to grab that Mumbo token on top of the boxes and get out as fast as possible. Sometimes, if you jump at the wrong angle, you end up at the bottom and have to get yourself back up, but we don't need to worry about that when we're going fast. And these guys don't hurt you if you roll through them. And she's been doing this the whole level, but those slopes right there, you are using the slope exploit that we talked about in the first level in the Termite Hill. So basically you're just getting up and getting onto the land without sliding down the slope. And there's a decision here. You can do this trick called Lifeboat Jump.
Alright.
And Lifeboat Jump is usually not worth it, because if you miss, you lose way more time than you save getting it. So what Nylume does is climbs up to the top, grabs the Jiggy, and let's see if you can make it into the room. So close. If you jump in there and have both those cutscenes play at once, you skip the cutscene with the box. It's a little tricky. But Lifeboat Jump is basically where you jump into the lifeboat from that platform and skip having to climb. It's very fast, but not worth it unless you're speedy, quick, and consistent.
Yeah.
A lot of top runners don't even do that, actually, just because it's like negligible time loss to not do it.
It looks cool, though.
Yeah, it looks super cool. So you've got 2 towers here. And they both have stuff on them, but you only want to climb one. And that's because there's a Jiggy up here. And she doesn't have to read the side of the boat because we already know what the code is. A lot of people ask, oh, how do you know what the code is? It's actually written on the side of the boat, and in casual play, you would have to put 2 and 2 together and realize that the numbers on the side of the boat correspond to those buttons. And, but Nylume doesn't need that. She just goes because she already knows.
You can hard lock in that room sometimes if you get hit by the little gruntlings, so I'm glad I didn't just hard lock.
Yeah, it's very scary. There's some soft lock potential in this game that you just really don't want to deal with. Yeah, they say ahoy.
Ahoy!
And so she just flutters and like she holds her Joy-Con in a direction and is able to flutter right onto the Jiggy platform instead of having to jump up there. It's faster. And we're gonna rescue a dolphin, but let's be honest, it doesn't look like we're rescuing the dolphin. If things were realistic, that dolphin would not live through what we're about to do to it. So the dolphin's stuck under an anchor, and we lift the anchor up. And the anchor goes right through him.
Oh, I am getting destroyed by these guys. Okay.
Yeah, these guys are trolling.
Just gonna get some health to be safe.
Just like everything else in this game. And now that she has 100 notes, things are nice. But you still want to avoid dying because there's 1 Jinjo and 1 honeycomb left to get after the dolphin Jiggy.
We meet Snacker again for the last time in this level.
Yeah, we gotta say goodbye to Snacker. Now, wondering how Snacker's surviving in the poison water is a different question entirely. He's fine, though. And what she did there is she skipped the dance. So you wait for the buoy to go down so you can land. So you grab the Jinjo, flutter off, and wait for the buoy's water level to change so that you can skip the dance there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, jumping onto land directly, or jumping onto the Jiggy from the water without touching the land first lets you skip the dance.
100% does not include stop and swap. And so she took intentional damage off that great Champa there because we are gonna death warp after grabbing this honeycomb. And Banjo drowns and dies all at the same time. We're not very nice to him.
There's 1 more level, Click-Clock Wood. It's the longest level in the game. There's 4 seasons we have to go through: spring, summer, fall, and winter.
And every level has a little bit of difference to it because of that. It is a super cool level, though. It's really fun to play, but you're constantly living on the edge a little bit.
Yeah, the level is a giant tree, so it goes up really high, and if you fall, that loses a lot of time because you have to climb back up. And yeah.
And we don't want to die here because it's the longest level, as Nylume said, and it also has basically 4 levels in one. So you have to go back to all of them to recollect notes and Jinjos. And that is the last thing we want to do. But before we can enter, we have to open it.
And the puzzle for this level is back at the beginning of the lair, near the TTC entrance.
Which is why we activated Dingpot earlier. So the movement in Click Clock Wood is very precise, very, I guess, you don't want to hesitate too much, but you also want to be mindful of the fact that you are on thin branches up high, and personally I think I'm excited for this because I think Nylume plays it really well.
Oh, thanks.
And I'm excited because this level has great music, you guys. I mean, this whole game has an excellent soundtrack, but something about this.
What is your favorite season soundtrack in Click Clock Wood?
It's hard because I really like all of them.
Me too. There's different things about all of them that I love. Like, I love that there's frogs croaking in autumn.
I know.
In the background.
I like that
the bees in summer.
Winter is kind of Christmassy.
Yeah.
It's like jingle bell sound effects. I think I like spring and fall the best.
Spring is fun. We'll hear that in a second.
It's all the same theme, but it's changed up based on, like, I guess the tempo changes a little bit, and like the sound effects and the timbre of the music changes just because Grant Kirkhope's kind of a genius.
Mm-hmm. The instruments used.
But to open each individual season, we're going to be hitting these switches. And Click Clock Wood has a couple of different routes as well, based on what you're doing. There is a possibly run-ending glitch called Soft Lock that you can opt into or out of doing in Click Clock Wood. It saves time if you do it fast, but you run the risk of losing your place and completely killing your run. So with that being said, most runners don't do the soft lock glitch because you are intentionally quote-unquote soft locking your game. So most runners will opt out of it.
Yeah, I don't do it.
And these birds here are kind of a
very annoying.
Yes. I'm trying to be nice to them, but yeah, you're right. They're extremely annoying.
They're like the worst part about Click Clock Wood.
Especially as the seasons go, the birds get bigger because they're growing up. And
bigger and faster.
So here's our first switch. Bigger, faster, and angrier. We open up summer, and the element here that is consistent throughout the levels is this little guy who we're headed towards right now. And right now he's just an egg, but we're going to hatch the egg in spring and then feed him throughout the seasons. And we're going to raise a little bird. Banjo and Kazooie are officially the parents to this little bird. His name's Eerie. or Irie, depending on how you pronounce it, and he's very cute. He calls you Mama. And so you're also growing a plant here, this beanstalk. And so somehow the needed agent to start the beanstalk is eggs, but we're not going to question logic in a video game, right? And we are making our way to summer now. That Mumbo token that she just grabbed is very irritating. You can grab it without taking damage, but it's very precise.
I've only done that like twice ever.
It's so hard. And we want to keep an eye on our health throughout this level because falling does so much damage. So, I mean, we don't want to fall, but in the event that something happens, and that does happen, we want to have the health to be able to live it. So you need 5 little worms here. And that begins our feeding the baby bird quest. And we're gonna go mess with some Zubbas, which are like a bee wasp creature in the Banjo universe. But instead of, fighting them, we're just gonna stand here with invincibility and they're gonna die when they run into us. The less effort, the better.
I agree. Oh.
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
And we're gonna mess with Goby one last time here. Because he has a lot of water in his body and we need this plant to grow. Oh, you know what? No, this isn't the last time. We're gonna mess with him another time, but for now, we're done with him. I mean, Goby didn't do anything wrong, but we kind of need him, so...
Poor Naughty's locked out of his house.
Yeah, Naughty can't even get home right now, so we're gonna help him out a little bit. Click Clockwood's nice because there are quite a lot of NPCs that we get to meet here. They're all pretty cool. They don't really bother you too much, they kind of just exist. And Naughty's one of them. Get it? Nah, because he's a beaver. But yeah, we're gonna climb up using these leaves because the leaves are the biggest in summer. Remember that, guys. We might need that later. For our lovely little quiz game. Naughty was a Donkey Kong Country boss.
Oh yeah.
Rareware likes to keep their characters going. And we gotta get the Jiggy at the summer house.
There we go.
There are 2 different ways to get this Jiggy. One, what Nylume is doing is egg barging. So you're shooting an egg or I guess egg barging is just Tui, huh? I guess it's just a big bomb here. Big barge. But anyway, you can grab that Jiggy the way she just did by going through the wall and simply grabbing it. Or you can do Summer House Jump, which is jumping across the gap in the house, which is risky. And if you don't do it fast, well, It's slow. We want to go fast. And so she's collecting our worms and our notes, and making her way back up to Baby Eerie. And unfortunately, we do have to watch the bird eat the worms, and it is a little bit slow.
It's kind of a nice break, though.
It is. You get your hands to rest, and you get to, like, breathe for a second. Especially the autumn one, where he eats 10 whole worms.
Yeah.
He's very slow. And we're gonna need to start collecting worms now, so that we can feed our little pal. Don't forget about the Jinja in the corner, and you're on your way to the next season. Poor worms, they never had a chance.
Fall is probably the most complicated season, the longest.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that you have to do and elements that you have to encounter in order to get through fall. So, especially when you're not doing the soft lock route, you have to make sure that you actually water the plant, which means you have to encounter Goby again. You have to climb up to the top of the tree to feed the bird. And you have to go around the level to get the notes in Mumbo's hut.
Wait. Okay. I forgot where I was going for a sec, but it's all good. It's also hard to remember where you're going sometimes because the route in this level is very all over the place.
Yeah, you're a little bit everywhere in this stage. And so Mumbo's sweeping leaves. He's not helping us out this season. He's too busy with his own housework. Which is fair, but it's kind of cute. Mumbo does a different thing in every season, too. She does have to get all the music notes. So there are 100 notes in each level, and Click Clock Wood, they're dispersed throughout the 4 sub-levels in the level. 100% is all notes, all jiggies, all honeycomb pieces. You don't have to collect all the Mumbo tokens. And you don't have to collect all the feathers and eggs. It's basically everything that's on the pause screen that, or on the record screen for each level. So we're saying hi to Naughty for just a moment. I'm gonna get some stuff out of his house, including this Jiggy, which you can also get in winter, but it's easier to get it in fall.
It's a little riskier, yeah. Mm-hmm. If you get it in winter, you have to make sure you stay in flight, because we clip into his house with a beak bomb, and then clip out of it with a beak bomb. So it's just a little easier to get it in fall, so you don't risk exiting flight.
And the only time difference is it skips a dance. We got Goby. One last annoyance of poor Goby, and he can run free, only to be seen again in Banjo-Kazooie. But there are, like Nylume said, a lot of different things to think about when you're traveling through autumn. It's long-winded, and there's a lot going on.
Okay, now we can go up here.
there's actually a pretty cool character in this level that we're going to meet coming up soon named Nabnut. He's a squirrel. We like him a lot. And in addition to collecting worms throughout this level, we're going to have to collect some acorns for Nabnut because he lost them. Don't ask me how he lost them, but he did. And that's exactly what I meant for having lots of NPCs throughout Click Clock Wood that need your help. Naughty needs you into his house. Gobies there, though we don't help him, we kind of hinder him, honestly. And this dragonfly, she chose to kill because if you jump over and he knocks you off, that is a very, very miserable fall. But you saw our buddy Nabnut there for a second. One of his acorns is in here. So we're not even going to talk to him before we start collecting. We already know what he wants. All squirrels want the same thing. Disgusting.
True. Oh. The hitboxes on those can be really annoying, so...
Yeah, this acorn that she went right through is particularly a pain. For whatever reason, it's very easy to go right through it unless you line yourself up. And this time it cooperated. But what's weird is he's missing his acorns, right? But one of them's in his house and we have to get it for him. He's like, oh, I lost my acorns. But one of them's actually in his house, so he's just lazy. And that's okay. He's cute. We can forgive him. He's even
so droopy.
Yeah. He's even got a little girlfriend who you get to see in the credits. Wait, is Nabnut's girlfriend in fake credits or real credits? I don't ever remember.
I'm not sure.
We won't be watching fake credits, needless to say. And now we're gonna sit here and relax for a moment while we feed our sweet bird child. Because we got him his 10 worms to grow big and strong. I do think it would have been pretty funny if they'd named Nabnut Conquer.
It would have. I thought that was his name for a while, but...
So our sweet little worms getting some food here. We're not feeding the worm, we're feeding the bird. Oof. Imagine that alternate reality. How would that work? But yeah, Conker just cares about the money. He wouldn't let them cameo him in the game that wasn't his.
Yeah. Now we're gonna exit fall with a clip called Fall Clip.
Aptly named, I might add. And you jump on this and let yourself fall in.
Can be a little tricky to find the right place. There we go.
So, as you can see, these levels are a little bit broken. And now we're on to the last leg of Click Clock Wood, and that is winter. And winter is very flight intensive. So all the other ones were climbing up the tree and walking around, jumping around. This one, you're going to be flying a lot, and we're actually going to see two really cool clips called winter clips, aptly named. And Nylume's actually going to go see Naughty again for a honeycomb piece. And what she did there is beak bonged into the wall to land onto the roof, because sometimes if you try to land onto the roof normally, if your shadow's over it for too long, you'll slide right off, and we don't want to waste time. So, winter is the conclusion to a lot of different storylines we've been seeing here. Basically, Eerie is finally going to be a grown-up, and we're excited about that. But because Eerie is a bird, and he doesn't know how to fly, he needs foster mom Kazooie to teach him. And so while she makes her way over to our bird friend, she's going to collect some notes. That jump can be tricky, but she knows exactly where to land, so no problems here. And you're probably wondering, if we're in winter and missing two Jinjos, why is that? We actually go back to spring. And Eerie, thankful for us raising him from just a wee egg, gives us a nice prize. Although, I don't know if I'd want something that came out of the bird's bum.
Yeah.
But we need all the jiggies, so we're not going to question him too much. So Nylume's going to break this window with an egg. Sometimes this is really finicky. But she got it easy. And this guy right here.
This guy is evil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy's a problem. He likes to throw snowballs and ruin everything. But there's some things we can do to avoid that. And Nylume's good to go, and the first clip is perfect. Hey Naughty, how's it going, bud? And now we're gonna go for the second winter clip. This one's a little tighter. And there actually is a backup, so worry not. You can clip out of the ice up here and be free. And there's a little bit of a joke with that little clip out of the ice. Unfortunately, many runners have gotten stuck under that ice, and I don't personally know why that happens.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't want to let you clip out, and your air depletes faster in the ice water.
Cold, yes.
Yeah, so it's easy to drown there if you don't get it right away.
But we're back in spring for 2 Jinjos and some bee fun times. So our last meeting with Mr. Mumbo Jumbo. And everyone cross your fingers we don't get a wishy-washy or a T-Rex. So that would be cool for everyone to see. But we're free. we have not seen a washing machine, and we have not seen a T-Rex text box.
Yay.
So Nylume got out with good RNG.
Yeah, it's like a 1 in 40% chance for washing machine, which is pretty low, but it happens quite a lot. And then I forget what the odds are for the T-Rex. I think it's like 1 in 1,000 or something.
But if we were doing RBA, which fortunately we're not, we'd be using this bee to get up to all sorts of shenanigans, getting back out into the lair. The bee has some interesting hit detection, and that's why RBA works. So you can actually bump into walls or sort of walk through things because the bee's hitbox is weird. And because of that, RBA saves quite a bit of time. But it involves a lot of tricky, inconsistent things. And so we're just going to use Mr. B to get over here and enter the final unofficial level of the game. Because Grunty loves game shows. And Grunty has always dreamed of being a host. But we don't really care about the game show too much, and there's a brand new skip that Nylume's going to show off called Ninpok Skip. Thanks for finding that, Ninpok, where we actually skip pretty much this entire board aside from the very beginning. And Ninpok Skip is basically when you're in Talon Trot, or if you get into Talon Trot between two tiles, there's a frame or couple frame window that allows you to actually get into Talon Trot. Normally you can't do that. If she were to try to do that right now, she couldn't. But if you slide in and mash the right buttons to get into Talon Trot between the tiles, you're in Talon Trot and can jump right over the puzzle. There is a caveat, however. If you get a picture question on this death square, and you can only continue jumping across in Talon Trot if you're on the death square and get it wrong, because it just bounces you. If there's a picture question on this death square, it fails and she has to go for the second death square. But it's okay. It's finicky.
Yeah, there's like 1 pixel where you can enter Talon Trot.
It's a very tiny amount of space. But the good thing is it actually saves so much time that even if getting into it takes a bit, you still nail it. You still save time.
Okay, we're good.
And we are onwards. And since it wasn't a picture question, we're free! So, we don't really care about the rest of the puzzle. And Nylume's just gonna walk right past Grunty and to the top of the layer. Because we don't care. We don't care about her game.
Casually, you would have to watch like a fake credits roll at the end of Furnace Fun, but we can just skip right over that.
Even before Ninpok Skip was found, we still skipped fake credits using a different Furnace Fun sort of skip. But Ninpok Skip is way faster. And now we're coming upon the final boss, and a lot of you might remember that this was a very hard boss fight. And it's still hard in the speedrun. There's a lot of specific movements you have to do, and as long as you pay attention to what's going on, Nylume will be able to get through it. Like it's easy. Because that's what we do. We make it look easy. And she actually did skip the little conversation with the pot there. So if you jump into the pot, normally he tries to talk to you, but if you jump right into it from there, you skip the conversation. Yes, this is currently a good pace. Grunty has a series of little attacks she does. What Nylume did there was poop eggs onto the platform so that Grunty would run into the eggs and it would skip a little phase where her broom lags out. Or, like, I guess the motor, quote unquote, of her broom messes up and it takes a little bit of time. So we completely skip that phase. And we skip her text. Not PB pace anymore, but it's a marathon. So she shoots fireballs and these green magic balls. And the green magic balls hurt a lot, but you can just use gold feathers or ground pound to prevent the pain.
Oh wow, I can't believe that hit.
That was really cool.
That was lucky. Like 2 in a row looked like they shouldn't have hit. But they did, so we'll take that.
Yeah. And this beak bomb section, basically all you want to do is try not to miss her, because missing her loses a lot of time. And if you point downwards, you can actually fly off the stage, so you try to beak bomb her in a level direction. What Nylume's going to do here is try to skip, or like she's going to get right in front of the statue so she can shoot the eggs right away. Skip a little bit of walking over to the statue. There's actually a soft lock that can occur here, but we seem to have avoided it. There's a problem sometimes. I'm not sure how it happens, but the Jinjo statue won't load properly, and so you can't actually shoot eggs into the statue, and you can't win the fight. But we're in the clear. And those were some fantastic shots. So she has gotten through the mini statue phase, and there's one phase left of the fight, and that is Jinja Nader. And whoever's running the timer, I just want to say that when she hits the last shot on the statue, that's time. So Jinja Nader comes up, and she has to shoot eggs into all of there's holes on all 4 sides. In order to activate the Jinja Nader, she has to, this is a really good fight, by the way. She has to shoot 5 eggs into each side and try to avoid Grunty's barrage as well as she can. So when she shoots the 5th egg into the last slot and the Jinja Nader cutscene begins, that is time. So that was time. Yay!
Yay. What was it?
2:22:07. Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's really good for a marathon. Holy crap. But yeah, the Jinja Nader's gonna beat up Grunty now. We're gonna watch her suffer a little bit. But this is a really nice time and great marathon run, Nylume. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Also, the fun part about Banjo-Kazooie is the credits are really enjoyable. And once you win the game, you get this nice little credit sequence where it actually introduces you to every single NPC and enemy throughout the game. So that's why we know the names of these things. I mean, you could just Google them, but if you've played the game enough times, the credits are enjoyable to watch, so you actually just... And Grunty is now squished.
Until she's revived in Banjo-Tooie.
Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert. Game that came out in 2002. But yeah, this has been Banjo-Kazooie, my personal favorite game and a very fun speedrun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. Definitely recommend checking it out if you like BK.
Yeah, if you like any
to watch and play any 3D platformer, it's one of the best in my opinion.
I agree. If you liked it as a kid, or if you liked DK64 or Tooie, highly recommend these games. They are a lot of fun to run, and Banjo-Kazooie in particular is a super enjoyable speed game. So thank you so much, Nylume, for that amazing run of BK
Of course.
100%.
Thanks for having me.
What's next on the schedule? Oh, that's me!
Oh.
Oh no! Okay, so, I mean, I guess I'll be running Super Mario 64 70 Star next. So.
Awesome. Good luck. I believe in
Thank you. And shoutouts, Nylume?
I mean, not really.
Shoutouts to Nylume!
Shoutouts to Tessa. Thank you for commentating.
Aw, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Are we still live?